We're at the Windsor junction in St. George. As you are aware, there has been a lot of discussion recently in the aftermath of government's proposal to create a roundabout at this junction. The public's main concern has been the amount of 5 acres that is being acquired to recreate this junction into a roundabout. So Mr. Shepherd is our spokesperson, and he will outline the concerns that we have. Obviously, the party supports any effort to improve safety. The party supports that. But there are other concerns which the public has been raising, and we're here to reflect those concerns with Mr. Pedro Shepherd. Pedro is himself a resident of St. Philip, and he passes this road just about every day. So, Pedro, over to you.
Thank you, Comrade Leader. Now, this junction has been a source of concern for years. There have been some serious accidents at this junction. I don't recall in recent times any deaths, but certainly injuries. Now, recently, government would have gone to Parliament to acquire 5 acres of land for this roundabout. It is expected to cost $1 million for the acquisition of the land, and the cost to actually construct the roundabout is just about $4 million. Now, as was stated, the Democratic Party has no challenges really with road improvement in this particular area, but the concern really is why 5 acres of land? Now, as we see it here, we are really trying to imagine where this 5 acres of land is going to come from. Yes, if we look at the normal size of a roundabout, probably taking maybe 1/8 of an acre, 1/4 acre of land, the most to construct the roundabout. The perimeter of the roundabout, the outskirts, in terms of visibility, I think that was an issue of the government, creating visibility. So they're saying that they need this extra land. But as it stands now, there is visibility. Yes, we have canes at the 4 arcs, but I believe that if we utilize the land in the arcs of this roundabout wisely, there's no need to acquire 5 acres in this area. So the concern is, why 5 acres? Maybe the government of Barbados, through the Minister of Housing and Lands, who is acquiring the land here at Windsor, which is the property of Windsor Plantation and Barbados Farms, could explain to the public of Barbados and to the Democratic Labour Party where this 5 acres is coming from. I heard also in the press conference, there's talk about taking out some of the bends in the road coming from Boarded Hall leading to the junction. Now, that again is a concern, because if we take out those bends, as they say, to create the visibility leading to the roundabout, then you create a situation where you will have land not being used. Certainly you will have an extra road to the side unless we cover that road and try to find uses for it. So I think we're really here to see the wisdom in utilizing 5 acres of land for this roundabout. We're not yet seeing it from our position here. So we're asking the government to further explain to the people of Barbados what is going to come of the 5 acres, where it is coming from, if all of it is coming from in the vicinity of the roundabout, or if some is coming from the extension between Boarded Hall and the roundabout. As it stands now, even the auction of streetlights and stoplights could be a solution at this junction. Each time you have a situation of an intersection causing accidents and you think of a solution as a roundabout, then one can see the possibility then of how much land is going to be taken out as we move to Groves, where there's another concern. Groves St. George, another concern at that junction. And there's several junctions across Barbados where we have issues. Roundabouts cannot solve all of the issues. So we're looking to see if there could not be a different alternative here, a cheaper alternative, and certainly explain to us why 5 acres at this particular location. The cost of the land is a concern. And of course, $4 million to build the roundabout was also a concern. But they will tell you that drainage is going to be a problem here, because as you can see, there are a few wells within the vicinity of the roundabout. So we may have to shift wells maybe incorporate the wells in the roundabout. The size of the roundabout, I guess, need to be explained as well, because a small roundabout can't go here, as I said, in a posting somewhere, unless we are putting a football field in the middle of the roundabout. There's really no need for a massive roundabout at this particular junction.
And as Pedro said, there would be a concern as to drainage, because if you're going to be having changing weather patterns and increase flooding, they ought to listen to local knowledge and try to preserve these wells. These appear to be ancient wells, and I'm not sure that, I'm not an engineer, not a technical person, but based on experience and recent history, you don't wish to be troubling established wells. So whatever they're doing, we would ask the government to try to preserve these wells. We would ask the government to listen to local knowledge, listen to the people who worked on the plantation, listen to the plantation owners as to how these wells should be treated, and that any work should probably not disturb these established wells. If you look at them, they're capped with soft stone, which means that these are pretty ancient. But as Mr. Shepherd said, there needs to be discussion on it. I don't think the government should rush ahead and do things unless they consult local knowledge. And Mr. Shepherd passes here every day on his way to St. Philip, and he would not mind offering his own contribution in terms of suggestions. He's written about it on Facebook, and I would hope that the government pays attention to him, not only as a politician, but as a citizen of this country who passes and repasses here every day. Good evening. Welcome to DLP TV. Tonight we are going to be looking at public infrastructure and public roads. That's been quite topical in recent times, and even beyond recent times. The state of the roads has been a discussion that has dominated among Barbadians who have cars and who don't have cars. Affected the cars, and so on. And we're going to be looking at public infrastructure generally. For the sake of that discussion, we have Mr. David Walrond. Walrond or Waldron? Walrond. Walrond. David is our candidate in St. George North. David's immediate right, and to my left is the Ensley Grainger. Ensley is our candidate for St. Michael East. Ensley has been prosecuted in the courts, and Ensley is now at the private bar practicing law, and those are quite successfully. To my immediate right, Mr. Pedro Shepherd, our candidate for St. Michael South East. Election. He's in election mode. Pedro tells me he's in election mode, and Pedro is a very senior officer of the party. He's at the heart of the party's administration. Pedro is general secretary. And to Pedro's right, a young man who has made quite a name for himself on this DLP TV. He's here almost every week, and both days in the week that we bring this program to you. Quite a dedicated young man. He's an attorney at law, former athlete, 400 champion. Tonight he's not talking athletics. Tonight Damien is joining us to talk about public roads and public infrastructure. I think he's a driver as well. You're a licensed driver, so you know about the roads. Since we started with that video we did yesterday, we visited Pedro, the Windsor junction, much talked about. And I heard you saying on video just now, yours is a concern as to the cost of the two matters concern you. The cost of the roundabout, $5 million. That's a lot of money for a roundabout. And you mentioned the amount of land that the government proposes to acquire. Well, they have acquired it already, 5 acres for a roundabout. Your impressions, Pedro, as to this project?
I believe that this good night to
Yes.
to the moderator, good night to fellow panelists, good night Barbados, good night to those in the diaspora who are viewing. This issue of the roundabout at Windsor is a matter of concern because it is the first time in the history of Barbados that we have heard of the construction of a roundabout costing $5 million, in excess of $5 million. It is also the first time that we have heard of a roundabout utilizing 5 acres of land without explanation. I live in the country. I have an idea as to the size of an acre of land. And 5 acres of land for Barbadians and for those who are listening is really about the size of 5 football fields.
Yeah.
So imagine the football field, let's say at the stadium, on Gull Hill, or Hall.
Yes.
Multiply by 5. Can you imagine a roundabout taking up that amount of land?
In fact, let's focus on one of the larger ones, the Garfield Sober roundabout. In terms of acreage.
I don't think that is one big. If you look at
That's a
the
big
one
one.
in Warren,
Warrens, yes.
Warren's is
How much
probably
land
about
would you think
maybe
Warrens?
a quarter acre or just under 40 acre.
Or so square.
And when you look at the road into the roundabout, then let's extend it to an acre,
Yes.
including the roads feeding into the roundabout. So I cannot imagine 5 acres of land to build a roundabout, not in the heart of the city or anywhere where it is a heavy flow of traffic, but in the country.
Yeah.
Where you have, for me, you have visibility, you have minor roads that people can use and so on. So I don't think it's going to be that heavily used. But we saw quite a few vehicles yesterday. Yeah, but the other options for people who might use that general road coming from St. Philip, Christchurch, St. George, etc. So that's my concern, really, the size of the roundabout in relation to the 5 acres. Is it going to be a massive roundabout? Is it going to be a small roundabout? Is it going to be the normal size roundabout? What infrastructure is going into this roundabout to cost $4 million to construct it? I heard about visibility leading into the roundabout. I don't buy the visibility and utilizing the land for visibility. And even if you utilize the land for visibility, what are you going to do with it? Just allow grass to grow? Are you going to put in food crops? What are you going to do with the land after the construction? If we look at the roundabout a few yards away about it.
Yes.
When you come from Turnpike, coming over the brow of the hill by those lovely condominiums, we know the story. We know the story of the condominiums. Houses, whatever they are. But you do not see the roundabout until you come over the brow of the hill. There's no visibility.
That's correct.
When you come from Fair Pilgrim coming down, you see the roundabout. But those who are coming from Bridgetown don't see you. So when you enter the roundabout, sometimes the fellow may have to brake coming down from Fair Pilgrim.
Yeah.
So there's no visibility need for the roundabout, really, because all roundabouts in Barbados have enough visibility, 50 meters away or whatever, to allow, and you come into a roundabout slow. You don't come into a roundabout 80.
That's right.
So you have time to look left, look right, look straight ahead. You can even look in the rear view mirror. So I really don't understand. I think the government has to provide Barbadians with a better explanation as to why they want 5 acres of agricultural land for this roundabout.
Yesterday, you mentioned an alternative. You looked at lights, traffic lights.
Yes, that entire stretch of road from Border Hall up to Campaign is dark. If you come from...
I meant traffic lights.
Right, I know, but I'm just looking at lighting period.
Yes. Okay.
Because we put in traffic light, then you put light into this motorist into the traffic light. And somebody might want to say you don't have the power source and whatever. Taking everything into consideration. But yes, I think that an option could have been stoplights. And as I said yesterday, if you put stoplights, it ought to guarantee when a fellow gets to the junction, he stops.
Yeah.
A fellow might break the light at 4 o'clock in the morning because of crime. But generally, when you approach the stoplights, you will stop. The problem with the roundabout is that a lot of the drivers have difficulty maneuvering. And if they think about putting even a jam buster, which is more confusing, you can still get as much as you want.
Jam buster.
Even if you put no jam buster at the roundabout.
That's the
double lane.
2 lanes coming in.
So you can still get issues at the roundabout. I think there are less issues associated with stoplights as opposed to roundabouts, but the government, of course, I guess, look at the better option, and the better option for them would be the roundabout. because you take up 5 acres of land, $1 million. When you work it out, it is about $5 per square foot, so somebody gets it, or some people get it.
Mhm.
And it is an economic thing, I believe.
Well, traffic lights probably would be cheaper
traffic lights
and more
would be
efficient
a lot cheaper.
because
And-
there's
and
a
to be
I
more-
always say there's a guarantee of getting through the traffic lights.
Me too. I prefer
I
traffic
prefer
lights.
lights.
And I
You
think
wait, but you know
yeah.
you're going to get your 2 minutes.
and as we are doing now, there are times when you have the flashing light,
Yes.
so that if you realize it is keeping back traffic for whatever reason because of the timing system,
Yeah.
then you put it on the flash,
Yes.
so
Correct.
that people then just maneuver and go.
And they just think.
And that works well.
It works well.
That flashing system works well.
Yes.
You have that situation most times there by the St. Hill Junction,
Mhm.
and that allows traffic coming from St. Lucie, St. Peter to flow.
Yes.
When
that's
traffic
correct.
is in operation, you get long backup lines and so on. So I believe the traffic light would have been the better option.
Better.
Cheaper option and the better option.
David, you are a St. George man. Can we? I know you're St. George North, and this is St. George South, but you're St. George man on the state. Any response to what Pedro is saying? You're a lights man or you're a roundabout man?
I am a roundabout man.
You're a roundabout man.
I've been doing this thing
we all
for
have to settle this here tonight.
I've been doing this thing for over 40 years. And
You're roundabout.
my experience is this.
Oh, try me.
Look, this roundabout thing is not as a big an issue as the government is making it up to. The reality is, and this must be said,
Mhm.
large roundabouts tend to have more accidents
More difficult.
than small roundabouts.
Yeah.
Like somebody would have mentioned the little circle down by Commonwealth School next to the screen.
Really tight, isn't it?
A nice little tight roundabout.
And unlikely to have
Very more than likely cost very little.
certainly not 5 acres.
Certainly not 5 acres. And that little roundabout works well.
Mhm.
It works very well. I've never seen an accident there
Mhm.
since that little circle was put there. But I can tell you, large roundabouts like Orange, for example,
Worst one.
you want to see accidents? Go and park and wait. You will see one eventually.
Yeah.
Cigar Service roundabout, another large roundabout.
Yeah.
Several accidents. So, in my opinion, large roundabouts are magnets for accidents because you have too much space to work with. And people, when you get, it's like having food. If somebody gives you too much food, you don't know what to eat. A whole laid out on the table, you don't know what to eat. You got problems trying to decide what to eat. The same thing in the roundabout. You give people a large roundabout,
Too many choices.
they don't know which lane to drive in. They're switching lanes in the middle of the roundabout, which is totally illegal.
And this is rural Barbados. You need a lot of-
I don't agree. I think
You're a roundabout man.
I'm a roundabout man, and definitely we don't need a large roundabout there. I said this thing about this large outlay of land that they're asking for.
I want to hear you on that.
This government needs to come to the people with the
Explanation.
truth
Mhm.
about this whole thing, because in my opinion, there's something hiding between the lines. And it is extremely confusing. I work a little quarter-acre land. And in that quarter-acre land, it can fit 2 roundabouts, you know.
Really?
You understand? 2 nice little deep roundabouts. So I'm trying to figure out, I've been doing this for a while, trying to figure out why 5 acres of land. Like Pedro said, are we going to have a football field in the middle of the roundabout and host matches
Tourist attraction.
or subtraction or something? Because it is totally unnecessary. It all comes down to wastage.
Yes.
And somehow
Of
Just-
money and land. Wastage
of
of money.
of money and land.
Yes.
And we're supposed to be land scarce country, right? I think this government seems to think that the public purse is a lucky dip.
Let us make the point, David, that it's agricultural land.
Oh dear.
So
My
you're taking up 5 acres of
my pet-
agricultural
my
land.
pet peeve.
Yes.
My pet
Yes.
peeve.
In the agricultural belt.
Yes.
Because
I mean,
Pedro and I were there. You don't see any building for
For
quite a distance. Yeah.
the truth is, I don't think we can afford to continue to do what we're doing to agriculture land in Barbados.
Put
Because
salt and concrete on
We
it.
just taking up agriculture land for all different kinds of reasons.
I know for a roundabout.
I know for a roundabout. And truth enough, a little circle can go there. Because like Pedro said, and I agree with him totally, you don't need to be able to see the roundabout until you get to it.
Mhm.
And if you can't see it, you're going to caution.
Would you compromise and go with Pedro's suggestion for lights? Traffic lights?
I don't like lights. I don't like lights. If I was the thief, I would go there, but he looks away and rob everybody. Because that's sweet stuff. He looks like God, yeah. No, I don't like lights because people don't trust lights. You know, people don't trust lights. I would not want to go out there in the middle of nowhere and stop at lights.
This gentleman prosecuted a number of these in his former life. Ensley, Roundabout or lights at Windsor? I think you know Windsor.
I know the junction. And good night, viewers out there. In my time as a police officer and attached to the District B Border Hall Station, there have been, and I attended many accidents at that junction. If government is saying no, that something needs to be done at the junction, yes, something needs to be done at the junction. Because I think that it maybe a day or two after it was announced in Parliament, there was an accident there, an overturned vehicle or so at the same junction, right? Something needs to be done. Does it need to be 5 acres of land, agricultural land? I say no. We had recently a situation at the Grange Road in St. Philip. This is that 4-cross coming from Curtin's bus depot,
By
Mangrove, the straight road from this round place.
Still not resolved entirely.
But we haven't heard of
Everybody stops.
everybody stop.
Yeah.
Everybody stop. Is that the appropriate solution for Windsor? I don't know. My first thing was stop lights. My first thing was
We have
stop
2
lights.
stoplights and 1 roundabout.
Right.
And then we'll be coming to you shortly.
So yes, something needs to be done at the junction because it's all about the preservation of life and limb, right? I heard Pedro mention the fact that government went with the better option, but better for whom? That is the question that needs to be answered. Better for whom? Because if we have agreed that 5 acres of land is 5 football fields, roughly. If we use 1 football field for the roundabout, who is benefiting from the other 4?
Maybe they'll build a park and you get some revenge.
Well, so government needs to really come to tell the public who are the beneficiaries after the sale of this land. Who are the beneficiaries? Who is it that is benefiting from the public purse?
These are public funds.
From the public purse in relation to this 5 acres of land. So I know the public, they're not happy with it, right? And I know that they're going to show their happiness when that appropriate time comes. Because for too often, government has been doing things with no accountability and transparency and taking the public of Barbados for right. And it has to stop. This government came into office riding on the horse of accountability and transparency because the Democratic Labour Party government of 2008 to 2018 was the most corrupt government ever to descend upon human. And now we have a government who at every stage, every step, are treating the public purse as their private bank account, and that ought not to.
And it's
Ought not
undermining public trust. Because here we are, something else, what we thought was simple as a roundabout. Become sufficient. The quantum of land, 5 acres, and then the amount, 5 million. 4 million plus the 1 million. So they're working in fights.
And it is wrong. It is wrong. And it leads to the question being asked, is there corruption behind it? Because it has all the trappings of corruption. Because if we can do with less land to build that roundabout, why are we going with 4 times the amount that we would need? It's agricultural land, right? So the owners of it probably had a difficulty getting it into residential land. I don't know.
Let's not speculate. But the government has not been transparent. You can read it, Pedro.
I just want to read, coming out of the press conference given by the ministry. Sutherland described roundabouts as strategic and sustainable solutions. He said roundabouts are not merely traffic tools. They are strategic infrastructure assets that support your broader developmental goals.
You probably will interpret that, right? Pedro, I have no idea what he's talking about.
They are strategic infrastructure assets
Uh-huh.
that support your broader developmental goals.
So what's this
So
broader?
we
possible
have to
broader
now
development?
wait to see what is going to start coming around this roundabout.
Let us begin to speculate. What? Apart from ventures there?
I will
Yeah.
speculate that there will be some development around the roundabout. shortly.
What?
Maybe housing, maybe commercial, but
Oh yeah.
they have to
yeah,
find
yeah.
uses for the 5 million. They can't just put $5 million,
Yeah.
and then don't use it as an asset.
Pedro, why not tell me? Why this coded language that you and I here trying to
But
figure out?
we all know that this government is not very honest when it comes to the public of Barbados. And therefore, they will use language that the average Barbadian, or they believe the average
Yeah.
Barbadian does not understand. But all of us can read, and we can read into what the rule is saying.
Yeah. So something is going to
So something will happen.
something will
And we have to remember that the defense force
Mhm.
is to be moved
Oh yes, indeed.
from the garrison
Mhm.
and is to be relocated in that vicinity.
Remind us to talk about that defense force move as we press on.
It's going to St. George
It's going to St.
in that
George.
vicinity.
Yes.
Over
Yeah.
the cable and wireless
Yes.
thing or something like that.
Yes. It's, Damien, you've been
But
sitting
one
there
to get
quietly observing your senior colleagues. Roundabout man or lights man?
I'm more of a roundabout man myself, so I guess we deadlock for tonight, gentlemen. Unless Rob can be the third breaker.
You know the junction, man?
Yes, I know the junction, and
You're a St. Michael man. What you doing out there? Church?
I think Barbados is too small not to explore.
Oh, okay.
You
like
know?
to explore it.
Yeah,
Alright,
so-
that is your impression of the roundabout and why of the intersection
Uh-huh.
and why you would go roundabout.
Well, let me first say before we get to that, Rolf.
Yes,
I find that in regards to this government, when it comes to the consultation of the people, when it comes to, I guess, imparting their logic when it comes to these projects, is lackluster and non-existent. And
It's interesting you say that because this is a government that has been doing the hall meetings. What they call them again? Paris Speaks. And then they do ideas forum.
Mhm.
And yet you're lamenting that there's a failure to consult.
there's a fair
You would have thought that you, with Paris Speaks and Ideas Forum, they would have gone to St. George, and this what we're here discussing would have been trashed out.
yeah, you would
Been in
think
public domain.
you would think there would be probably a broader discussion on the discourse as to, or if you're saying that you are making a change to the intersection itself because of safety
Yes.
reasons, right? That the solution itself would make sense.
Yeah.
The solution doesn't make
But they
sense
sprung this on the public
and sprung
without
it
consultation.
without consultation, and then still with the answers that you're getting to questions don't even make sense.
Right.
So then you can't even I guess articulate what is the full purpose of the project,
Mhm.
other than to say that it is a wastage of resources, labor, and money. Because then if you're saying, okay, you're going to need 5 acres to build a roundabout, that is going to be the biggest roundabout I've ever seen in my whole entire life. Or you're going to make a very small roundabout, and then all of that surrounding property is either going to waste, or you've not been forthcoming with your overall plans. And then at the end of the day, then you come and spring another project on the people, making it seem as if like, oh, this was always in the works because we told you so, because we said broader developmental goals. So it's a bit facetious or almost a bit dishonest and hypocritical to come and kind of in a sense mask your intentions in pretty words and highfalutin language, because the Barbadian people, they deserve people who are going to communicate with them honestly, because you wrote that with speaking of transparency and accountability, but then when you peek behind the curtain, you see nothing but just, I guess, diversionary language and lack of communication when it comes to these projects. So really and truly, I'm not sure where or why, what is the logic in
I love
this.
your perspective. We were looking at the technical aspects, but you introduced the lack of consultation, the failure to take the public into your confidence. Tell the public what you're doing, and that's your perspective.
Which was another campaign promise, and I tell people at DLP TV, read those manifestos. Those manifestos are very pretty in language, but then when you sit and you take stock and you do a cost analysis of everything that they've promised, you can see that they've not delivered even 5% of everything that they have promised in those manifestos. Or if they promised something, they pivoted it where it benefits other people, those who are more highfalutin and to guess higher earners rather than the people itself. When you said you were going to invest in the people, you didn't do that. Or you invested in projects, but that project doesn't trickle down into the pockets of the average Barbadian. You gave a wage increase, but that wage increase now basically is being taxed with a tourism contribution. So you see that this government just, they pull the wool over the people's eyes, and it's a cruel hoax. It is a cruel hoax to see that you promise investment, and the type of investment that you're bringing makes absolutely no sense. A 5-acre roundabout, and it doesn't benefit the people other than to say that, oh, we're going to mask it on the guise of this is for safety. It looks more, it's going to put some money in some of the people's pockets who are going to benefit rather than the people of the area itself.
Pedro, can we ask the government then? Look, I like Damien's perspective, the failure to consult. Can we ask the government to come back to the people and be more transparent?
I believe we should. Normally, with projects and town hall meetings, the town hall meetings are for the people who will be affected in the area.
Precisely.
So government might figure they don't have any people in the area to have a
Or
town
people
hall
who
meeting.
bankrupt, they have an
People who use that
Yes.
junction
Yeah.
should be invited to a town hall meeting to suggest the government what their opinions, give their opinions to see, what is more feasible. Persons who might have been involved in accidents in that general area.
Well, the parish has stopped speaking.
Mm.
The parish speaks have gone silent, and the Ideas Forum have gone silent because they like to say they consult. Here it is, Damien is telling us that's the main thing, the failure to consult.
So we need to push them to consult on this one, because it is in excess in terms of land, it is in excess in terms of finance, and if money is tight in the country and we have to be borrowing every week, then we need to be a little more prudent in terms of our spending and so on.
Yes.
And I think it is a trend though in the Ministry of Public Works and Transport.
It's true.
They have a lot of lavish projects or lavish spending going on with their projects across Barbados. Reading today, I recognize that the Chinese in the Scotland district, that project is $230 million.
Yeah.
Of which they spent $60 million already on 8 finished projects. So this year, 15 more to go. How much of it is going to be left? Is there going to be another project overrun? But all the projects I find under the Ministry of Public Works and Transport are heavy projects, costing lots of money, and there's no accountability for any of them. No transparency at all in the Ministry of Public Works and Transport.
David, if and when this project gets going, somebody's going to be doing work. We could say possibly MTW, but more than likely it will be a private enterprise that will build this road. And if we're going to be spending money, it's going to be spent on private enterprise. There needs to be consultation. This 5 acres, $4 million, it's not a small project. What are we going to do as a party? What do we tell the government? Pedro is saying, come clean. Talk with us. What's your position?
Let me say, asking this government to come clean is like asking for the return, you know? The reality is that from the time this particular government was elected, they have been moving very shady with us, and a lot of things are being done right in front of us.
Yes.
Without any consultation, without any transparency. This is another project, and I heard Pedro say something, and it really it hit me like an epiphany. Chances could be that another housing project would pop up there. Some little 4-story tower or a couple of towers could pop up there.
Yes.
That's another way to continually break down the land bank, the agricultural land bank. What I don't like about this particular project is that 5 acres of land is a lot of land. This government has basically eroded agriculture completely in the Christchurch area.
Yes.
I wonder if there are still any plantations left in Christchurch. All the agricultural land in Christchurch has been basically developed, have been moved away from agriculture. And here we are seeing a movement from Christchurch coming over into St. George, where the agricultural land bank is being taken down. It's heading towards bankruptcy.
David, I wonder if we're not onto something. The road at Warrens made the lands adjacent to the road more expensive, more bad.
Yes.
I'm wondering, are we onto something at this Windsor junction? Are we creating a roundabout, as Sutherland said, in a broader developmental goal of making a commercial district in that area?
Like I said,
is that a possibility?
Like I said,
You build a roundabout that you probably do not need to put lights. But as Pedro pointed out, based on Sutherland's statement, what is going to happen to the lands around there? Do these lands suddenly become highly valued, expensive lands for the purpose of creating a commercial center? Is that a possibility?
yes, a development.
Ensley?
Sounds that way.
Sounds that way.
Sounds that way.
Yeah.
But why can't they tell us? Look, we're speculating, but if that is the case, and logically it could be, what?
They don't want to tell us because we are already onto them on what they're doing to agriculture in Barbados.
Yes.
We have an agriculture minister that believe we should be farming out of containers.
And this is the St. George Valley, isn't it?
Yes,
It is the valley.
yes, it is the valley.
And you know
Right.
the valley.
You understand? So basically, the agriculture minister, he seems not have to have a problem with the land
He's absent.
being taken up and developed anyhow, because he said we can throw food out of the container. The reality is that, based on everything I've heard here tonight, that land is going to be developed. The value of that land is going to shoot up in the air.
Correct.
And a new development is going to pop up right there around the Windsor area.
And this is
Windsor,
because
Brighton
when you're
area.
talking climate change and you're developing infrastructure within the valley area of St. George, which is traditionally food and agriculture. And yet you're talking climate change and reversal of climate change. And this would be counterproductive because Pedro, we saw the 2 large 4 wells there. And
I'm glad that
The
you
point-
mentioned the wells. Some time back, I purchased a car from a guy in St. Philip, and as I was coming home, my brand new my brand new second-hand car, driving to St. George with my brand new second-hand car.
Uh-huh.
I encountered some of the heaviest rainfall that I've ever encountered in my life. The car was baptized on that day. On that same road, we were going towards Brighton to come back to Market Hill. And there was so much water coming out of Brighton. A car or two were stuck around a bend heading towards the Brighton where the greenhouses are. And a driver told us that you can't get around here. And we had to drive back to that very junction to head down Border Hall to get the water. Because at that same time, a fire truck was coming up from the same Windsor junction to go and rescue somebody from the Brighton. The amount of water I saw that evening, I was scared. I couldn't allow myself to be seen to be scared. I was the only man in the yard. So I had to play a man. And then I couldn't let the voices
This is
start.
the same as the junction.
Same as the junction. I have never seen so much water since then.
You know, David, if you put concrete there,
If you put
problem becomes exacerbated.
but that, of course, it is an area where a lot of water converge.
Yes.
Water will come from further up the hill. What is it called there? On the direction of
That's
Power
right.
Ridge.
Oh, up
Right. That water is coming down
Bridge
into that area. Water coming out of Brighton, and you get some coming down from St. Philip.
the catch.
So it's a catchment area. So the reality is that whatever development, if they do have a development plan for that area,
Mhm.
they have to consider the fact that down there is a serious catchment area
Mhm.
for water, and you could be putting people down there to drown if you develop it. As simple as that. And that's the reality. And but I still going back to the point that I don't want to see no more land taken out of production, out of agricultural production. We need to know to step up because somehow we believe that we should buy everything instead of grow anything.
Yeah.
And we need to move away from that. And this DLP has to change that.
I'm going to give the panel a chance for what the Americans call a slam dunk. Let's talk about the general state of the roads. I know the government has been doing something called mill and pave. They did it earlier this year. General state of the roads. Damien, what's your come to you next, Pedro? Or you wanted to lead on state? Yeah, you lead on the state of the roads.
Well, let me say the state of the roads in Barbados are atrocious. coming from St. Lucie, the Christchurch, St. Philip, St. John's, and every parish in this country.
You're not impressed
The
with mill and
roads
pave,
are-
Pedro?
Not impressed. Mill and pave is too short term.
Yeah.
In most cases, the mill and pave lasts 2 months.
Somebody was
Just-
telling me that
just
some of
after-
the mill and pave has been eroded already.
Just
Is
after
that
2
bad?
months, you see the ditches again outside of the road. I think what we need to do is not mill and pave alone, but you have to mill and pave and put down some curves and so on and do proper drainage. Now, a few months ago, I wrote another piece complaining about the state of the roads coming from St. Philip to Bridgetown. Since 2018, St. Philip has not had a road done.
Since
If-
2018.
Since 2018. If you leave College Savannah coming down, you are traveling on. I don't know if I can call it a road, but you are traveling. You're well. Let me say you're shifting potholes from College Savannah until you get to Edgecombe. If you go through Ebenezer, if you come the other side going towards Boys Mill, you will navigate in potholes towards Boys Mill. I don't think that we can say that there are roads in St. Philip. There are potholes in St. Philip, and we try to find the road among the potholes in St. Philip. You come across the highway to where I move further down from St. Philip, highway to A. They recently did some mill and pave warrants coming over the hill till Corsulas roundabout, but beyond Corsulas again down to mile and a quarter, 80 kilometers on the highway, shifting to find the road on the highway. St. Lucie, Gemot, Chance Hall, those areas, road construction going on for the last 7 years, can't get the roads done. And you come back to the same thing with the roundabout in Windsor. They said the roundabout in Windsor, when they started the roundabout, is going to be an inconvenience for a few months. This government believes that the traveling public paying fuel tax, buying new cars every week, should just sit back and enjoy the inconvenience of the potholes, the unfinished roads and everything until they get around to completing the roads.
Do you get a sense? Do you get a sense that they want Barbadians to beg for a road?
Yes, we have reached a stage where basic necessities like roads and so on, housing, you have to beg for.
Yes.
We are moving to what some people may call a welfare state. The only way you get a road is if you beg and you promise a vote. The only way you get a house in Barbados through national housing or from Hope or any of the other persons building houses is if you are prepared to side with the Minister of Housing or a favor is done to another minister. We need to move away from this. Roads are basic necessities, schools are basic necessities, water is a basic necessity. And we shouldn't be asking politicians and MPs for roads. I mean, when you travel to North America, and you see a pothole in the road, guarantee when you wake up in the morning, going back, that it's gone.
Yeah.
Maintenance is priority. In Barbados, we can save millions of dollars if we only fix it. Save on suspension and parts. And you heard that nobody in Barbados does body working.
No.
Unless it's a very old vehicle.
That's right.
You go down the road and you get a fender bender, change the car, change the bumper. I mean, there are lots of things that I believe an incoming Democratic Labour Party government will do that will enhance life in Barbados. And certainly, from my point of view as spokesperson from Public Works and Transport, I see that we can save this country hundreds of millions of dollars by doing what is right.
What is right?
Doing roads that will last.
Yeah.
Putting in drainage. We just bought a number of buses from China. Oh, where we bought them from? China gave us some free. I'm not sure where we got the first set from.
Yeah.
These buses are being destroyed on the roads of Barbados. You have the comfort of Wi-Fi, but other than that, the buses are being destroyed. They're being parked.
Taxpayers' money
going down the drain. And don't believe that the Chinese give you 37 buses. It's just giving you buses.
Nothing called a free lunches.
You owe Chinese something.
That's right. That's right.
You owe Chinese something.
That's right. A few months ago, I sat in Parliament, and the government came. I think it was $14 million supplementary for regathering, so that there is money there. But it is a question of government's priority.
I realize the buses serving regathering and all the government functions.
Of course.
But private people like schools can't get buses to do tours.
There we are.
But whenever this government has a function, you see all the air-conditioned buses line up at Sky Mall or they line up somewhere to take this government and its people.
And that's money.
And supporters.
There.
Exactly.
And they're not fixing the road.
But we don't have to pay for the buses. Might be a service to the
Nothing
government.
called a free lunch. So Damien and I was on to regather. Very costly exercise. And this was a supplementary, 14 million. So if this is only a supplementary, you know how much they must have allocated originally to it. Comment on the government's priorities. We're talking about the failure to do the people's roads. Yet you're going to put on these public relations events. Regather.
Well, it goes to show that we see where this government's priorities are. They're all about optics. They're all about having a good time and
public relations.
Yeah, kind of like it's almost diversionary, but it's I don't want to give them any credit. But if you want to keep people away from the issues that affect them, you throw them a party.
Correct.
Yeah, diversionary tactic, right? So with the amount of money that this government has borrowed in the name of fixing the roads, you would think we will have the most pristine roads in all of the Caribbean. By now, all of our roads should have been fixed with the amount of money that they borrowed. And I'm pretty sure that And the fuel tax that was supposed to go to fixing the roads as well,
80 million for what?
a month
Per month.
per month. So you're
$1
telling
billion a year.
Yep.
Under one tax.
on the one
And
tax
you can't get a road.
can't get a road. And from what I understand too, they actually recouped more tax this year, right? I think they had recouped about 1 billion last, and I think we're up to 1 billion 4. I believe that. So they've actually collected more money. So where is it going? That is the question for tonight, because it's not definitely going in the roads.
Where's it going? Don't defame anybody.
Where has it gone? Where has it gone? Somehow tonight the panel seems to be in sync. There's something happening. Yes, something is happening, because here I am with a note on the fuel tax. And why are we talking about roads in 2025 when the said fuel tax was supposed to go to repair roads? And while we on that, I mentioned on this DLP TV a couple months ago, it is the duty of every government to fix roads
That's right. Standard.
and infrastructure.
Standard responsibility.
No citizen should have to beg any government for a road or a street. Like, that is the responsibility of government.
Standard responsibility.
And no government should be praised for fixing any road.
Precisely.
That is the business of why you are there.
In 2022, sorry to interrupt you, by being in Gibbons, they did parish land, the road from parish land,
Right.
Gibbons, the day before the election. The day before the election, the road was paved. So that
It's like same thing in St. James North.
it's a precisely with the
Right.
last by election, we
Right.
walked on some hot asphalt the day before the election.
And then sometimes you
politicizing road building,
yes,
and you're saying it's all right.
it's a right.
Government's duty.
It's government's duty.
Yeah.
And sometimes you see some roads that are paved. But why this road paved? Well, nothing wrong with it.
Precisely.
But then the roads that really need the work are not getting it. We went down to that West Coast Road, probably from, what is it called? Let me say from the Frank World Roundabout going north. Highway 1, the lower road.
Yes, yes.
That road, how many times have that been
Man.
paved and repaired? And I traveled that road this morning going into Hotel,
Well, again,
and the road has begun to drop into holes.
yeah, they did it about 2 years ago.
Roughly about 2 years ago, and that road has begun dropping into holes.
Nobody gives a
And Pedro spoke earlier about the mill and pave. And the problem that I believe with this mill and pave is that it is all right, we scrape the road and pave. But it doesn't seem to be that there's any attention being paid to the substructure.
Yeah.
Right? So therefore, then it is paved and it is used for a little,
Feels good. Feels good the first
feels,
two days.
yeah, we're moving smooth. And then we drop in
Yeah.
back to square one. So something needs to be done, and attention needs to be paid to the real integrity of the road,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Substructure.
The substructure of the road,
Stabilize the
as
substructure.
Comrade David said.
Yeah.
So therefore, if we continue just this,
Give you an example, Ensley. A few years ago, I was agitating for the South Coast Road. And I was told you can't get it yet because we have to go under, do the utilities and
Yeah.
so on.
work
Pedro,
up,
you know, they haven't gone to the utilities. They
Work-
just paid it.
work up, come.
So the utilities issue disappeared.
work up road.
Work up road.
I find though that I don't understand why we continue to put the utilities in the center of the. There must be some common sense in shifting the utilities to the side, because as you reconstruct and repair roads, water authority comes, they fix their section.
Yeah.
The gas will come, they will dig up and fix their section. The utility company, telephone, and those they also come go into their culverts and so on and start to pull water that is in culverts. So you get a whole set of disruption again. And recently, I think well, not recently, I think 22. In 2022, they had put the Ministry of Public Works and the Water Authority together.
Yes.
Because they wanted the utility companies to work in sync and so on. But for some reason, the Prime Minister's office took away Water Authority from transport.
For some reason.
Yes, for some reason, some lucrative reason. So you have now Water Authority coming, cutting the road after the roads were paved, and it's now taking months again to fix it, to seal it back. So you get it starting to break away, and that's where a lot of potholes and so on are coming. As I was coming here this evening, coming at the bottom of District C Hill, a culvert in the road, the 2 cans in the culvert that has been there for about 3-4 days. I saw about 8 men to the side fixing the cars and cleaning the windshield. So that will inconvenience people now for maybe another 2 months. Again, I go back to North America. We like to copy everything from North America. When you see these things happen in North America, they are fixed instantly.
Yes.
You do not inconvenience people. And maybe what we have to do in Barbados is start suing government for damage to vehicles and so on.
I'll tell you a very interesting thing, almost amusing thing that's been happening. There's this character who I suppose he's become a social media phenomenon. He's been driving around and identified things. We know he identifies potholes, and apparently the government is following him.
Maybe they're paying him.
Maybe they are. And he goes around, oh, here's a pothole, and next day the government fixes it.
Maybe he's paid to identify the potholes for the government, because some time ago the minister did say that she drives around Barbados looking for potholes, looking for where MTW workers are not working. So maybe it is a burden on the minister. So this government like to employ influencers, employ people to go to funerals and cry, employ somebody for potholes. So don't think that the person is not employed by the public service of Barbados.
I don't know that he would do that for free. Whoever he is, but
unless he gets traveling. He'll be traveling.
I want to introduce the question of capital works. Every government, every politician looks back on its term and says and points to a major capital works program. Major, every government. This government has had 7 years. Any of you gentlemen can point to any major capital works program.
I don't think we
We don't have
can.
to read the board because
I don't think we can
No.
point to any major capital
No.
work.
after all the talk, Pedro,
yeah.
after all the
We have well, I heard something recently about building. No, they borrowed money recently to build to enhance build up a polyclinic to replace Eunice Gibson in Warrens,
They haven't done it.
and they're doing it now. The money they just voted for the money or something to replace 2 polyclinics and to enhance
This
7
is last
others.
week in Parliament.
Yesterday in the Senate or something.
Yeah, which followed from the debate in Parliament.
Yeah.
And I can say to you that they also say they're going to renovate the one at Oystins, but that's not true because the Oystins plan is to move it to the other side of the road,
And you
which
went
raises questions as to what they're doing with this borrowed money. Yeah.
well, they're going back to St. John too. The David Thompson Polyclinic used more work there again.
They borrowed $120 million from the European Investment Bank to build the hospital at Harrison's Point.
What are we doing with it now?
Well, there was a story in the media recently that it's no longer going to be the hospital. So what happened to that $120 million from the European Investment Bank? But we're going to discuss that in another program. Let's come back to capital works. Damien, can you identify any major capital works program that this government has done?
None comes to mind, only than the what we mentioned at Harrison's Point, which was a total wastage. It appears that this government has divested itself from, I guess, putting that investment into some big capital project that would benefit the people.
There was a story in the media that Harrison's Point is no longer going to be a hospital recently.
Yeah.
What
Turn up the use.
I think it's been leased to for storage.
Leased up for storage. So,
For storage.
so we borrowed 120 million US dollars to build a hospital, to build a store, and they build it. So where's the $120 million, Pedro?
I wish I could tell you.
And that's the point we make all the time. Government is borrowing this money in the people's name, and the projects are not coming to fruition.
And you're borrowing this money every day. You're borrowing money every week. You're going to
Yes.
and borrowing money.
Yes.
But you know that all the projects that they're talking about were projects left by the former government.
Precisely.
They have not conceived a single project in this
That's why I
country.
raised the question.
Every single project conceived on the Democratic Labour Party, and I suspect funds were probably available on the Democratic Labour Party. So were you fooling people that you borrow money to do
To do
the
projects.
higher? You borrow money to do
Precisely.
Tam Laurel. You borrow money to do these roads. Something is wrong, and this government has to come clean. Elections might be in the air, but they must come clean before they call it.
In terms of works, David, I drove somewhere in the country, and I'm seeing the people going inside the road.
The whacking and the
The
weeding and
whackers,
so on.
yeah.
Yeah.
Seeing that the emergence of that again, so obviously
A lot of it at Border Hall.
Border
Go
Hall,
to,
yes,
go to
yes.
the roundabout.
Yes,
Large bags.
We saw them yesterday.
Large
yes,
bags.
yes,
They
in
clean
rural Barbados.
they clean it 300 or 400 meters leading to the roundabout in Border Hall.
So perhaps, David, that's the major capital works program.
Yeah.
Employing people short term to
Um,
the side of the road. And, nothing major, nothing long term, nothing developmental. Just paying people $500 a week. So the whackers at the side of the road. And that's it. And after a year, you lay them off. And what do they do?
I think, Honorable Leader, we missing the beat, you know.
Mhm.
Remember they had something called Power Speaks.
Yes. What that is?
I think maybe we need to beg the Prime Minister to start back Power Speaks because
You
it's
want to go bombard them?
it seems as if when you go to Power Speaks and you beg the government to beg them to think that Power Speaks, you tend to get things done, you know. I mean, small things, nevertheless.
It's all orchestrated.
I was about to say
All
that.
orchestrated.
It's all orchestrated. You
But
can't go to
you-
Power Speaks unless you tell them what you're going to speak. about.
Precisely. You
You
bring
can
the
just go and get the
branch,
mic.
You got to be
branch
method
members,
first.
Yes.
bring the 10 branch members and have them get up and say something that sounds new, but all that is orchestrated. It's like a play. It's acted out. And then the poor civil servants up there at 10 o'clock in the night being shouted at when something does not get done. I'm not going to say who shouted at.
I would say though, we got to be careful. We don't want to be critical of the opportunities the young men get to whack beside the road. Mind you, the grass will get employed, but never mind. At least they get something
Employment.
out of the deal, you know. Because the reality, if you look carefully at who is buying the funds that is coming out to the public purse,
Mhm.
who are the people who are benefiting from the public purse? It's in the average Joe, you know. It's in the average Joe. So when the guys get an opportunity to go and whack the side of the road, I give it to them.
We support it.
We support
But
it.
what we cannot support is how they dispose of them when the election is finished.
They have to pay national insurance again.
No, they weren't. I think they were not
Self-employed?
paying. Yeah, they treat them as self-employed. So they have to go and do their
We're
own.
speaking about
So
the
you give a
nature.
chap, give a chap $500 and ask him to do his own administrative work, national insurance.
But that is the nature of this government.
So while we support them getting the jobs, we
Mhm.
cannot support the system under which they work.
Yeah,
But
but
become disposable.
after
a year or two.
but we still have to walk cautiously around that one because somebody would get on a high horse, a white horse, black horse, whatever color horse, and shout aloud that the Democratic Labour Party don't like the idea of the government
We're
employing.
supporting it. We want it to be permanent.
Yeah.
Let it be permanent employment.
Let
Have
those
it
youngsters
until-
get some national insurance when they're not working
Precisely.
or when they get sick.
No,
As
they
opposed to
should
the
always
as
work.
opposed to the 300 and the expected 500.
Look, maintenance is necessary. You cannot have a public works program, whether it's a building or the side of the road, unless you have maintenance. So that if you need maintenance, let the jobs be permanent.
Yes.
Let the jobs be permanent. Don't bring the fellas on when an election is coming. Pay them $500 a week for 6 or 9 months and then dispose of them as if they're not human beings.
But Conrad Leader, this government, that Barbados Labour Party government, sign on the dotted line with the IMF and agree to send home a third of the public
I
service.
completely heard.
That's 11,000 people they agree to send home.
How many?
11,000, a third of 33,000 is 11. Is
Human
11,000.
beings.
They agree to send home 11,000 people.
And they're good
In
enough to come back
28
only when the
2018,
election
right?
is coming.
So when you agree to send home 11,000 people, and then somewhere down the line say, all right, when they come, let me lay the road for a couple of days.
Yes.
But it's not a permanent job. It's not. It's a opportunity to get a little something. But as a politician, we need to value our people.
Correct.
This government don't value people. Right? We need to value our people. The reality is that the people who are out there really decided the road. They don't necessarily, that's not their first idea of a job. They're doing it because of necessity.
Yep.
They're under pressure to pay the bills and stuff like that. And this government has shown scant respect for the average person in Barbados.
In many ways.
Scant respect. You got the national insurance there, and none of those workers can get national insurance. They can't risk getting sick because there's nothing up there at national insurance for those guys. The reality is that we, the people, we need to demand more of this government. We don't demand enough. This Prime Minister thinks that party down there at the four car park place, that a party down there is good enough and all the problems solved.
All the problems. Yeah.
You go in the supermarket, and I don't like to digress. You go in the supermarket, and it's like a chorus of stoops and people sucking the teeth. People taking up stuff and putting it back down because they can't. They can't. The prices. I have never heard so much complaining in the supermarkets than now.
David, so that you don't digress, let us make it clear. We support the jobs.
We support.
But we want security for those workers.
Yes, they deserve better.
They deserve
They
better.
deserve better.
And they're really high risk jobs.
Yeah.
Yes,
Lockers
like
and
the road.
sewers and so on.
Yes, that's right.
High risk.
Pedro, I can't drive so good. You know how many times I almost don't have those guys on the road.
And they're not marginal jobs. You need maintenance.
Exactly.
You need to clean these.
And they should have a special insurance for these guys
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Working at the side of the road is very, very dangerous.
I don't think that they actually wear proper gear.
No, they don't.
I see them in regular
Slippers.
clothes.
Slippers.
In fact, some of them have to supply their own equipment. Battery. Some people need batteries. They say, yeah, I'm working in this job, but I need to break my own.
Is this a government that cares?
You bring your own
Is this a government
you
that
have to
cares?
bring your own tools.
Insurance.
No, bring your own tools.
Madness.
And you're treated as self-employed. No security objective. Maybe why were you laughing?
I was last one at Comrade Waldron when he said that he doesn't almost knock them down. They would swear with the 4 eyes that he had that he could see. He could see somebody from Mars. So
Roundabout.
Any capital works programs that you could identify in the last 7 years? We've been trying.
Borrowing.
Borrowing, maybe.
Borrowing. There's no shortage of borrowing by this government. But it is hard to really pinpoint a capital work project. And it begs the question, where has all the money gone? I mean,
Don't we have a senior minister responsible for infrastructure?
Yes, we do.
A senior minister?
We do.
Somebody actually paid at a higher level.
Yeah.
That responsibility for infrastructure.
Now, where is it?
Where's
Where is the
we paying? Where are we paying?
because we have a Minister of Transport and Works. We have
The senior minister responsible for
presumably
infrastructure.
he hovers over them to supervise them.
Responsible for
it is
Campaign.
really
That's
he
correct.
has full control.
That's correct.
it is
Floating
really
cabinet.
it is really mind-boggling to see a collection of men and women who is being portrayed as a government who had all the answers to Barbados's problems for 10 years between 2008 and 2018, and can now, between 2018 and now, seem so bereft of ideas to move this country in any direction that is positive and that is uplifting for those at the bottom. This government is a failed government. It has failed the people miserably. You promise, I call it a government rich in promise and poor in performance or implementation. That's what it is. You promise the reduction of crime increase. You promise the reduction of cost of living increase. Every single thing. You promise accountability, transparency, that going through the editors. This government has failed the people, and the people need to understand that this government is not working for them.
And it's the biggest government in the history of Barbados.
The biggest.
They criticize 17 ministers. How many they have no bed? 25?
25 of them. And
Falling over each other.
falling over each other. And I guess a lot of them not saying too far of the day.
This is their weekend. If you go watch,
Duplication.
you'll see them up that.
Yeah. Crop over babies.
Crop over babies.
Crop over babies, they call themselves. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's leave them for the time being. Let's talk about towns in Barbados. Anything on the board? Director, anything on the board? Any interaction? We like to interact with our people. Not yet. Okay. We have 4 towns in Barbados: Bridgetown, Hoyston, Old Town, Spikestown. We could start at Bridgetown. Me, Ensley, you and I go to lunch sometimes. And we like to walk through Broad Street and mingle and so on. Broad Street is in decline. Serious decline. Well, Spikestown has all but disappeared. I mean, commercial Spikestown all but disappeared. Old Town is just a stretch of road with Sumark on one side, a couple of hotels. We are losing right before our very eyes our towns of their character. They're not being patronized by Bridgetown on Saturdays used to be, oh man, Mecca. What has happened to our town? Damien, you're the youngest of us. I don't know if you knew Bridgetown when it was Bridgetown.
I think I'm old enough to remember something like that.
Yeah. Have you observed the decline of Bridgetown? Or are you too young to know that?
I think I've observed the decline. What I'm more seeing is more a focus to, it seems like, to develop around the towns. Put up a hotel here, put up a development there,
Interesting.
rather than to invest into the actual structure, infrastructure of the town
Yes,
itself,
and to renew it.
and to renew it, and
Yeah.
to bring economic mobility back to the basic towns and so on. So it shows where their priorities lie. It's definitely not with the people that find a living and do their transactions in the various towns, but to take up a piece of property next to it and maybe sell it for X amount of billions of dollars and have that person develop that while the town surrounding is basically suffering and lacks or starved for some form of investment into at least trying to bring the commercial, to bring back that commercial business and viability back to towns. And then once that investment is put into towns, you'll see the infrastructure will improve. Businesses will flock to find prime real estate once you spend money into the towns and develop it. And it just shows where the priorities lie. It's not with the individual who works in those towns.
Patrick is telling us Bridgetown.
There's
Yeah,
like
look at the old right. Coconut. Margaret, behave yourself. You know Margaret.
Yeah.
That's your constituent.
Yeah.
Constituent. Interesting point, Damien. So you've seen the
The depth is like the focus.
dying of Bridgetown.
It's like, yeah, it's like the focus is around the property surrounding these towns, but not the town itself.
Not the town itself.
So
they're hoping that if you put a hotel there,
Mhm.
that breathes life into the town.
Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense because the individuals would probably go someplace else that's even more developed,
Yes.
rather than coming into the town itself and patronizing it. You would want to think that you would invest in the surrounding area first, and then bring the individuals for the demand. But basically, they've not even taken care of the supply.
You don't get a sense then that government is really making the investment into the city and into regenerating. the
Not
city.
into the city, not into people, not into Barbados, not into anything really.
Pedro, you're slightly older,
Yeah.
only slightly.
Slightly older. I think though the issue of the four towns, it is an interesting conversation. We have noted over the last maybe 20 years or so the demise of Bridgetown and the development
How
of
many years?
Warrens.
20?
Could be 20.
Yeah.
The development of Warrens. We're now seeing the development of 6 roads.
Yeah.
So there's really, we're trying to move away from the original 4 towns, so to
Mhm.
speak,
Is
And-
that a good thing?
and try to build other towns. You know, we want to build 3 islands too. So if we can build some towns, then we have a legacy.
Their favorite term is building out everything.
Build-
Building out.
build-
Every
build-
minister now is building
build-
out.
build-
Whatever that means,
Yeah.
everybody building out.
So you'll soon get a town in St. George.
You may do.
That might be the legacy of the people say Joseph to build a town in Bathsheba, something like that. And Bathsheba is developing, I say.
Is it?
Remember the community center at the top of the hill in Bathsheba? There was some concern about telling that to some investor and that kind of thing.
Mhm, mhm.
So you're getting that development moving away from the town. So the towns will eventually die. Bridgetown certainly will eventually die. We might have the Hyatt coming into Bridgetown,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
that's where people will stay.
Yes.
But where they ready to shop, they go to Warrens, they go
Right.
to Oysters, they go down to Bathsheba.
Let me take you to Spikestown. And Damien makes a very interesting point in relation to Bridgetown. He says they plant a hotel there, assuming that the city comes to life. Spikestown. Spikestown, the commercial, the old Spikestown that we knew, the historic area called Spikestown. That is dying, and at the edges, starting north are coming in, become houses. Tourism.
But
So tourism is
Like-
making an
like I said-
incursion
like I-
into the town and destroying the character of the
yeah,
town.
like I said just now, I think the issue
Mhm.
is having the towns for this particular government.
Mhm.
You remember recently they had the issue in Spokesperson with the diversion of traffic away from
Correct.
commercial
That's
Spokesperson.
correct. That's
So you are
correct.
trying to kill business in Spokesperson by
That's correct.
diverting the traffic and allowing the traffic to go beyond Spokesperson, where they can then go to Port 39, you can go to Port St. Charles and those areas.
So they were helping
the-
to kill the town with traffic diversion.
Exactly. They have no interest in the towns.
Mhm, mhm.
And
They're
they-
interested in the tourism facility.
Exactly, and bringing large investments into Barbados, and all the investments that they bring to Barbados, really the controversy. What is the latest with the one in St. Joseph? Joe's River area.
Mm.
That would probably be built out quietly. Nobody would probably recognize that it is no longer an issue in the courts or whatever. But this government strategy is to simply bring large investments,
Mhm.
and maybe they're getting a percentage of the, what do you call it? You do in Dominica and those countries, Antigua, where if you secure the investment, you get a
Finder's fee?
finder's fee. I suspect that there's this finder's fee approach, and that's why you're bringing large investors to Barbados, doing projects. They're all controversial projects, but
Killing indigenous
killing
Barbados.
indigenous Barbados. But you get your finder's fee, so you don't care what damage it causes to communities and so on in Barbados, because you really don't care. You run election saying that you care, but you really don't care about Barbadians. You care about yourself.
The people in Oystins would be very disappointed if I make reference to Oystins. Perhaps Oystins is making the last stand because the Bay Garden is indigenous, the market is indigenous. Of course, there's the supermarket on the other side of the road. But again, as Damien says, the plan is to push down the civic center. That's the police station, the polyclinic, post office, and put them on the other side of the road and put a hotel there. So again, Damien, your point stands that in relation to Oystins, the plan is to put a hotel there
Mhm.
and you wonder what that will do to the old Oistins.
Yeah, it changes the landscape. You wouldn't
It
reckon
changes the character.
it changes the character of
yeah.
the town itself. So basically, there's no respect for that traditional cultural value that we would have. That those are the things like those UNESCO sites and so on that they tend to want to get rid of. That you would think that would attract individuals who come to learn the history of Barbados. And when you erase a country's history, people slowly dies because we don't have any more cultural history that we can rely on to say that this is who we are as a people. We've basically erased our entire identity.
Yes.
And one way you can do that is to terraform all of the landscape around it and move away all those historical sites. That's where you begin.
Glass and steel.
Put up some glass and steel and just call it that. So then now the structure and the whole life and essence of the town is basically been eroded and it disappears.
I want to ask a question.
Even the archives.
From
The
all
archives.
four of you. Damien, you and I just talked about glass and steel.
Mhm.
The Hilton Hotel was as Barbadian, the old Hilton. Now,
Yep.
Damien, this is 4 of us. You don't know about the Hilton.
Okay.
The Hilton was soft stone,
Mhm.
and it had these beautiful
Arches,
arches, and it was Barbados's independence project.
Mhm.
The Hilton is the Hilton that's up there now.
Mhm.
Square blocks, glass and steel. David, I want to come and ask you. You remember the old Hilton?
Yes.
Compare the old Hilton to this one and tell me aesthetically how
Yeah.
this one touches you.
I can tell you, hanging in my house right now, it's an artist impression of
The old Hilton.
I was fortunate enough that I turned
You
up
remember the rock garden when you went into the Hilton? and-
very, very well. Very well. Like, so I can tell you, I see
You
it.
make the case then that the old Hilton ought to have been preserved.
Maintain.
Maintained, yeah, should have been there now.
You see,
You remember it, Pedro?
Yeah.
we talk about mash up and buy back. This
Mm-hmm.
time it's mash up and buy back up. Because when you look at Barbados in general, our properties, government properties,
Mhm.
they don't maintain them.
Yeah.
We are into a era where most of the
Nothing is
original
sacred.
government
Nothing is
properties
sacred.
are completely gone.
Yes.
And what is happening in Barbados is that we are using engineers and architects
Mhm.
from somewhere else.
Mhm.
And they're actually building up buildings that are not suited for the climate.
Mhm.
That's why when they build these buildings, within 2 to 3 years, they're sick buildings.
Mhm.
They're sick buildings.
Glass and steel.
I've never
No
seen so many
ventilation.
sick buildings
No ventilation.
in my life. So there's no building intelligence.
Mhm.
There's no building intelligence being applied to what this government is doing to this landscape. We're just building these monstrosities, and they're not standing up.
Nor
And-
are they aesthetically pleasing. Nor
They're
do
not
they fit in
aesthetically
with what even our tourists are coming here to see
Mhm.
Barbados. They're not going to see Barbados for much. They're just going to see the glass and steel. Ensley, you remember the old Hilton? From where you live, I'm sure you
Vaguely, you know. I think
You don't remember the old the arches.
not as prominent as you.
Really?
But I think, in my view,
Mhm.
the implosion of the Hilton, my perception of that is of not this government, but the Barbados Labour Party government was a way to eradicate Arabara and of
As I said,
Arabara.
The Hilton, the old Hilton was a symbol of independence.
Yes. And to seek to put their image
Yeah.
on Barbados and to push away anything that was Arabara
Symbolic of that.
or the Democratic Labour
Yes,
Party.
yes.
And that is the only reason I can think that the Hilton was imploded and that structure.
You agree with that, Pedro?
I totally agree.
You were 6 miles though. You
Yes.
knew the Hilton?
I heard of the Hilton and the fireworks and everything, so I have a visual of it. But the point is being made that the respect for the
Heritage.
architecture and the heritage is gone. Take, for example, the Barbados National Bank opposite the bus stand.
Oh, yes, the old NAS building.
Practically, all in NIS building, practically
Well, it
imploded,
was an old, that was a new building.
relatively
We
new,
opened that in 75.
something like that.
Yeah.
You come across a few yards from there, the Treasury building.
Unoccupied.
Vagrants living in
Yeah.
it. Well, we think they sort of barricaded now that you can't get in, but we heard that it's going to be some housing project.
They came to
Now,
Parliament.
why would you want a housing project 2 yards from Park?
They came to Parliament and said, I think they hinted at low to middle income housing. I don't think that's going to happen.
Or why would you want lower to middle income housing in what is currently true?
I don't know where they're going to park.
I believe they will have to implode it, sell the coral and stone rock,
Again,
some
that's
steel
another-
and glass structure.
that's another symbol of rich now.
You know,
London is known by its buildings, by its old
you,
buildings.
you go across a few yards again from there where you had all those old Manning buildings
Correct,
and so on.
correct.
And it's
The
like
old warehouses. and so on.
warehouses.
Of soft stone.
You demolish all.
Demolish it.
So I don't think that this government has any respect at all for the heritage, for the landscape, for the architecture. There's a building that I am watching
Mhm.
at the bottom of Point East West Boulevard.
Mhm.
Maybe my parliamentary representative for the area could think about it.
Mhm.
Every year they would come and it used to be the old training building.
Mhm.
Every year they would
Used to be
pay
St. Caroline's Business College.
No,
that one.
next door.
On the other
On
side.
the other side.
Oh, yes.
A
The old stone. Oh,
fantastic
yes.
plantation
yes,
house.
yes, yes.
They're just left
It's unoccupied.
for years
Yeah.
now.
A public
It
service
just- it
department
just-
used to be there.
Training used to be in there.
Yes, yes.
They just run into ruin. The eaves and so on started to fall off. And
No respect for heritage.
every year they would send maybe twice a year 20, 40 people to go and clean and so on. But of course, you can get the termites and so on in this building. And I'm watching to see when
I want you to
some
watch.
major investor will go
Mhm.
on that
Well,
project.
But let us look. They're building a new geriatric hospital. What is going to happen to the existing
old
geri-
one?
Yeah.
Some major
Again,
investor will get that
beautiful old
property.
building with the arches and soft stone.
Well,
heritage
well,
again.
well laid out.
What's going to happen there, Pedro?
Some investor,
We need to
Some
agitate
bill-
as
some
a
bill-
party.
some
And Barbadians
billionaire.
need to agitate.
some billionaire will
for
get
cultural
that.
heritage.
The people who live around there, they're supposed to be relocating those people.
But I saw an artist's impression of showing me that the whole of we're building the cabinet office,
Yes, yes.
oh, the geriatric hospital, all that.
That
we
entire-
went back
that
to-
entire area.
The government headquarters.
Government headquarters.
Government headquarters.
Again, that relates to Ensley's point. When you think government headquarters, who do you associate it with? Mr. Barrow?
Yeah.
But admittedly, Mr. Adams had some time.
His statue is
Some-
actually there.
His statue is there, but
Yeah.
he had some time in there as well. But again, that is a Barbadian symbol. That's
But
like
actually,
hanging down the street.
this-
That is where government, you associate government with Bay Street,
With their street.
looking on to the
But what
looking on to
the defense force?
precisely
The artist
that
impression
entire
I
stretch.
saw.
If these people have
Right
the
down to
way,
Bay Street will be taken.
Well, that's the point.
Right.
so you lose again, as I said, you lose your heritage, your architectural heritage along that stretch, because government headquarters, whatever you think of it, whatever it is, it should be sacred. I mean, something must be sacred about it. That the geriatric
Not
hospital.
even
Let's
Parliament
look
is
together.
sacred.
You don't know.
You
what
were
that
speaking of
is.
Parliament. You have been repairing the speaking of Parliament now for the last, I don't know, over the years.
5 years now.
But you will sell it now to some
They would sell that too.
billionaire rather than spend money and refurbish
You
it.
contemplate that the government would sell part of the
I will
business.
sell you Western.
So,
I don't know who will sell
so
you Western.
Barbados up for sale now.
Everything is
total.
up for sale.
Well, that's-
I don't trust them.
You mentioned earlier, lots of just don't eat it. You mentioned earlier the move of the BDF.
The BDF, I understand, is
Again, those
moving from the
buildings,
garrison.
You mean they-
Fantastic
Pedro, they're
property.
gonna touch
You
those
have the
buildings as
cannons, you
well?
have the lookout
Heritage site.
where the fellows would look out to see people coming on the street, come across the street. You have the caves and all. It's really some place for soldiers. You go Grenada.
Yeah.
You go Richmond Hill, you go those
Correct.
places They would never get rid of them.
Stephen Lashley told me
Why
that
did Barbados get rid of them?
he had a fight
To
with
get the
designation
designation.
with the UNESCO.
UNESCO.
He went to France, I think it was, and had a fight.
And
to
these
have
people
this
just
area.
people just believe that these things are not important to Barbados.
Yeah,
Money,
yeah.
money. Tell them get some money. What do you do with the money when you get it is the next question.
And we were talking cultural and heritage tourism, yet we're going to destroy this important area.
So what are the tourists coming to Barbados for?
Glasses,
Glass- Just what they leave when they
precise.
you leave New York, the glass and steel, you come to Barbados for glass.
Glasses,
You want to see old Chatham houses?
correct.
You want to see the history of Barbados? You want to see, you want to even go in the community that have community tourism, the Airbnb that they know taxing.
Yeah.
Where are we going? The time is
Away,
coming when-
away from the interests of indigenous Barbados, creating a new Barbados, which is liberating. That means so much to us. A case for urban renewal. I wanted us to discuss that. This party has some place on its agenda, urban renewal, and this party, I think, should take the position that we do not support the government's idea of desecrating sacred spaces in Barbados. That's the garrison, government headquarters, geriatric hospital. You've added Pedro the Treasury building. They knocked down the Hilton. They knocked down the old NS building. We walked down Broad Street, Ensley, and a lot of the buildings are boarded up. A new government has to make an effort at urban renewal. David, you wanted to? You're a countryman. and
I'm a
you're not
countryman,
an
but
urban renewal man.
I am concerned. I'm not going to get into technical jargon regarding urban renewal, but I'm concerned, very concerned at how this government is doing business, because we only hear that a particular location has been sold 2 years ago after it has been sold.
Yeah.
And it
They
reeks,
come to Parliament when the deal has been done.
it reeks disrespect for the people of Barbados, whether we like it or not. The lady has no respect for us. She has no respect for nobody in Barbados.
But now,
If you can sell,
Senator Law
if you can-
because she spoke on.
but if you can sell off Barbados without the approval of Barbadians,
Correct.
who really owns Barbados?
Precise.
Can I come and sell your van?
I won't mind.
But
I
then,
might get somebody for
but then I will put myself. I will be putting myself in the place of a dictator. I can come and take away your things. The reality is that my concern is we are losing a lot of Barbados disrespectfully. These properties that belong to the people of Barbados, these
Heritage.
heritage sites,
Yeah.
are being sold without our knowledge.
Correct.
And we find out sometimes 2 years after. And we are happy to follow, not follow, but we are happy to allow a person like that to lead this country.
What are we gaining for it?
What are we getting?
Yeah. Okay. If you sell, you do the whole town thing. Chances are they'll do the Oystins thing.
Mhm.
I'm saying that's how I'm characterizing it. Then, worst of all, you do the garrison thing and the geriatric hospital thing and the Bay Street thing.
I
What are we getting? We people of Barbados, what are we getting for it?
was told at
In
school,
exchange.
as I was being taught, I was told you never answer a question with a question. But I got a question for you.
Yes.
When you ask what are we gaining,
We Barbadians.
okay, which sector? Because apparently there are more than one Barbados.
Oh, I see.
There are more than one Barbados. So we got to get to the point.
Means a
When
function.
you ask what are we gaining, you got to then clarify which sector of Barbados you're talking about. Because you see, the average person in Barbados,
You want the pedigree.
we getting headaches. We getting difficulty buying food.
A national debt.
We we gain difficulty paying bills. We gain difficulty getting the income tax. All these different things. Income tax returns. We're not getting these things. So the reality is that we that are gaining are not the average Barbadian.
Damien, I'm coming to you deliberately with this question.
Mm.
What will be the relationship of the average Barbadian to this new development, to trust hotels stretching from the garrison down to, as I heard the Prime Minister say, down to the harbor? What will be the relationship of the average Barbadian to this?
Little to none.
Little to none.
Little to none, because
He might own one of the hotels, might he not? You know that official.
this is, if we're going to talk about urban renewal, I've always asked myself, like, when you take in the Bridgetown area, how is it that those areas that are surrounding Bridgetown, those rural areas, like say the Orleans, Country Road, Nelson Street, Bayland, and then some parts maybe Bay Street, how is it that they do not prosper economically because of the proximity to town? How is it that the government has not taken the idea to have Bridgetown reach out into the rural areas? You expand Bridgetown, you invest into its development, and you change it, integrate Bridgetown into the rural area. But you see that amalgamation now of the commercial side of Bridgetown into the rural side of Bridgetown. What it means is that
the rural side of Bridgetown.
yeah, well, or talking
like Carrington Village and
all of those, yes, Carrington,
Bayland,
yes, development,
Greater Bridgetown.
Greater Bridgetown, development throughout, where then you capture all of those individuals who have bars, sports bars,
That's right.
shops,
That's right.
mechanics, detailer, you know, and then when you in a sense, I could imagine Nelson Street with cobblestone roads and or fashion lights, and then now you develop the do what you said you were going to do, fix
Don't
it.
incentivize in working class.
Right.
That's what they don't do.
Do what you said you were going to do. Take out the pit toilets out to the rural areas. Invest into the people. Fix those roads. Fix those houses. Instead of giving away the land on Gemmett's Lane for free. Invest in the people.
A national tragedy.
So then that those individuals who get off the cruise ships and probably walk through the commercial side of town, if they don't feel too cozy being in all the hustle and bustle, go into the rural areas. Where you could have these supermarkets, those local supermarkets, you can do their shopping and then go to a bar and have a drink, sit down probably in the little speakeasies or sports bars, and just patronize those rural areas because you've made it a part of Bridgetown, because you've extended your investment into those areas, because then the property would appreciate. The property would get more valuable.
Right.
So then you are incentivizing
without it
losing its character, yes. And then you would give people more purchasing power. If my property raises in
expanding tourism into the non-traditional areas.
Yeah,
into the villages.
Into the villages. So then if my property raises its value, I could probably then go and take out a loan to probably then invest in the business. Probably add a shop onto my home and be a part of that community where that individuals can not only shop in the greater part or the more commercial side of Bridgetown, but into the greater part. So then you incorporate tourism with the rural part of Bridgetown, and then you just give those people an opportunity to live for themselves. They can actually earn a living, but then you don't see that is not where the priorities lie.
Pedro, you get a sense that government does not invest in local communities, as Damien is saying.
Yeah, I think that is one of the problems that we have in urban Barbados, the general Bridgetown area. I think recently they would have gotten a loan to do some urban renewal.
Yeah. So
and they're largely talking about people getting rid of people pay toilet.
Yeah.
But there's nothing commercial about it. There's nothing to improve the aesthetics of the area, nothing to make people believe that they are not part and parcel of the development of Bridgetown and so on. So I think
you define them by a pit toilet.
Yeah, you define them by a pit toilet. Everybody living in Orleans, pit toilet, man. They just give some indoor plumbing, and they get that. And
as Damien said, you do not develop
but you don't develop the area. You see people in Bridgetown, the vendors in Bridgetown. What facilities are you providing for these people? They may not want the indoor spaces, but do nice outdoor commercial areas, stalls, kiosks, whatever that they can vend, I think that it is something that we need to really look at. To improve the lot of the people in urban Barbados,
Yes.
so that they feel as though they're part and parcel of where the
You know, the crisis, there's a crisis in Bridgetown, and it is reflected itself in this way. People who have stores are out on sidewalks vending. And that really speaks to the crisis in Bridgetown. Like people who own stores can no longer depend on people to come inside. So they have to be out there on the sidewalk offering. And that really is a crisis in a city that the government is allowing to die.
But
Oh, sorry.
if I would just extend a bit on what the discussion was early on the urban market,
Yes.
or the urban breakdown. I think that what we as a Democratic Labour Party can look at is creating what I would call small business commercial centers within urban Bridgetown, so to speak.
You mean Bridgetown Center or Greater Bridgetown?
Greater Bridgetown.
As Damien was saying.
Yes, Greater Bridgetown.
Villages, the Baylands.
Yes. Yes, certain areas in there that can be developed. Not by
business.
Yes,
Yeah.
not just somebody putting up 4 sticks and a tent.
No, serious
right?
efforts.
Serious efforts to commercialize it, and
And grow the town.
and
Make Bridgetown bigger.
and peppercorn rate
Yeah.
for those small entrepreneurs to thrive. The same way government can give away Jammett's Lane.
Precise.
What about our resource, our people?
Yeah. If you're not investing in them.
So you can have a center where there's a barber shop, there's a hairdressing salon, there's a restaurant, there could be a sports bar.
And make it safe and attractive.
And it's safe and attractive, right?
Good roads like it.
And then
public restaurants.
And public restrooms.
it can be sold.
Yes.
This
Yes.
can be sold then to taxi drivers
Mhm.
who can take tourists and bring tourists into these areas.
Yes.
So what we do, we move the tourists now from the hotels and bring them into the communities to integrate with the local people that they so much want to do,
Yes.
right? And there again, community tourism, and you start to
But you
right.
know what would kill it? And what is killing it?
Crime.
But
You don't control crime.
I would jump in and I would say here that if you probably invest in those same areas that we were talking about, that might actually be the answer to our crime issue, because then you're giving more opportunities to individuals for people to earn.
Excellent.
You understand me? And then so once you invest in them, they have no reason to want to come and commit crime, because they will actually be something that they will be earning in their pockets, because you'll be bringing those individuals who come to visit Bridgetown into Greater Bridgetown, and they'd be more of a relaxed rural life rather than the hustle and bustle of town. You can offer 2 sides to Bridgetown,
Yes.
the hustle and bustle and the rural relaxed side, where you integrate with the people and you get to know the cultures, taste the food, drink a drink, do your shopping, your grocery shopping. Maybe probably some commercial stores that may sell clothes or any utilities, you know, that you might need at home. The possibilities are endless, but this government doesn't have the vision to see that, because when you don't invest in the people are going to eat themselves out, basically.
Gentlemen, it seems as if we're saying that all the investment that government claims to be doing, coming to you now, all the investment that government claims to be doing, they're not investing in people.
The people are forgotten.
People are forgotten. People are forgotten. Those are nice pictures.
But the people must let them remember.
Yes.
The people
Yes.
must let this
Yes,
government remember
precisely.
how they were forgotten.
Precisely. And giving you a few tickets to go to a proper briefing.
Doesn't cut it.
That's cut it. We're having a press conference tomorrow. Excellent. What time, David? 10 o'clock
10 o'clock.
in the morning. Right here, we're going to be launching the Democratic Labour Party's report on Commission on Crime, which was led by Miss Verla de Pisa. Excellent work, Verla. we really look forward to the launch of that report. Her deputy was former deputy commissioner of police, Mr. Bertie Hines. And how many commissioners were there? About 11. That media launches tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Tune in, Barbadians, for that launch. You know that a few weeks ago, when the Prime Minister extended an invitation to this party to join what I think is now the defunct advisory council, the government's advisory council on crime. I have not heard anything about it. We are demonstrating why we needed to reject that offer to sit with the government, because we first came up with the idea of a commission on crime to look at the scourge of crime in Barbados. And I don't mind saying publicly that was Mr. Ainsley Ben's idea. Ainsley, thank you so much. This is how this party works. This party is not a 5 of us here tonight. This is not a 5-person party. All ideas contained in this party. Ainsley, thank you so much for giving to this party the idea that we should have had a commission on crime. And a few months later, under the able leadership of Ms. Berla De Pisa, criminologist and attorney at law, we'll be launching that report tomorrow, a media launch at 10 o'clock. I hope you gentlemen plan to be here tomorrow to give Berla some support in the launch. David, have I advertised it enough? Thank you very much. Let us go to the board. We like to interact with our viewers and hear what normally Mr. Lemmy will tell. He is so faithful to the show. That's quite a lot. That's Kamhar.
Yes, Kamhar.
Bravo, Mr. Thorne and Team DLP. Team. Focus on team. We're Team DLP. This isn't a Thorne thing. This is Team DLP.
Mr. Thorne and team.
Okay, fine.
Mr. Thorne and his leader.
Judith Ann Clark will be. Judith says she'll be locked on tomorrow.
Thank you.
Shirley in Canada. What does Shirley say to us? That she'll be awake. Shirley from
I'll
Canada.
be awake and ready to tune in.
Come on, Shirley, at 10 o'clock, you should be awake. It's 10 a.m., Shirley, not 10 p.m. That is Maureen Denny. What's Maureen Denny telling us? The screen has gone a little dark. Can we get some more light, please? If any of you had to do that journey on foot to get from one side of Bridgetown to the other, things would change in a hurry. What about the old, sick, pregnant woman? Everyone can't afford a taxi. Yeah, that's been a problem in Bridgetown. Passage across Bridgetown. Not as safe, not as secure as it should be.
Maybe you need some transportation, coaches or something to move.
Or a walk through Bridgetown. Somebody talked about cobblestone, pedestrianizing Bridgetown earlier.
Yeah.
Is there a case for pedestrianizing Broad Street? Let us be bold. Let us
In terms of
share
traffic,
ideas with the
in
public.
terms of traffic,
I know people like cars. People like cars. So on, but Pedro, what is the case for pedestrianizing Broad Street? But I now cobblestone and eliminate vehicular traffic. What's your view on that?
I would have to think long and hard
Long and
about
hard
it
about it.
in terms of traffic divergence and so on.
I think from the garden by St. Mary's, right up to where Nelson used to be, where they put the LP thing with the family. Pedestrianize that area so that you walk from there right up. And like it.
And the walk.
Hmm?
What are you walking to do?
And you have
We just said at the store.
no, you have umbrellas and you have your little cafes and you have, you
You
see it in New York.
don't have to develop the place.
Yeah.
Develop it.
Look, we haven't used the boardwalk around the other side. That's the back road.
Yeah.
And I thought the original plan was when that was built, that the back, what used to be the back of Broad Street would open up onto that.
When the Constitution work, remember we started to do some work on that. And had
Precisely.
a few things going through on Sundays.
And one of the prettiest sites at Bridgetown is that river.
When it's
They
clean,
redevelop all the
at Christmas time, you have the
right
trees
up to
floating and so on.
the Queen's Park. Not used with
DLP project,
the LP project.
they work.
Young man, Damien,
Mhm.
the new Bridgetown. would you pedestrianize Broad Street? Don't be afraid to give your ideas. Maybe ideas contained in this forum.
Yes, I would. I was even thinking about the comment where they were saying that taxi and transportation through town might be a bit how should I say it? It's difficult. If I may be ambitious with my idea, I like the town of the state of San Francisco.
San Francisco.
You know how they have
Yes.
the trolleys,
Yes, the tram
you know,
cars.
the tram cars,
Yes,
you know,
yes,
as an
yes.
ambitious project
Mhm.
where that individuals, if you could designate maybe a route and probably install a couple of those and give Barbados added old town aesthetic,
Yes,
you know, and
yes.
they would trade, it would save certain transportation problems as well. You know, you could just traverse, pick 2 routes, 3 routes maybe, and just give it that old town feel. And I
Yes.
think that would also help individuals to traverse through town quickly and help other people that have transportation problems or even like health problems, walking problems that they
Right,
can just
right.
get from one part of Bridgetown to the other.
Let us come back to Maureen. Maureen, we're so happy to hear from you. Maureen Denny is disabled. They told me don't say differently able anymore. Bridgetown, Spikestown, I dare say Oistins is not accessible for me and other disabled people. No accessible parking, unsafe sidewalks, etc. So I shop in Warren's our whole town. Warren's is not a pedestrian area at all. You drive through Warren's from store to store. But Bridgetown, again, Damien, Maureen probably is making the case for the pedestrianization of Bridgetown so that she can traverse if she's in her wheelchair and so on. And so you probably have you don't like the pedestrianization of when I say Bridgetown, I mean Broad Street and so on. Remember Swan Street has been pedestrianized.
Yeah.
Damien may be too young to know when the cars used to drive through there.
No, yeah.
New cars going through Swan Street.
Actually, you know what? I do remember that.
You remember?
Very young though, very
Yes,
young.
yes,
I do
yes,
remember
yes.
that.
Well, we're talking about doing the same thing with Broad Street, not as firm idea, not as something that we intend to do, but let us discuss it with the public. We want to encourage public discussion. Ensley, how do you feel about pedestrianizing Broad Street?
I don't think I'm
Cobblestones and so on,
I'm
and the umbrellas
sold.
and people sitting out on the sidewalk and having their lemonade and so on.
At this point in time, I don't think I'm sold on
Not
it.
so bad.
But the idea
Creating a
of
mall, you call it a mall, so that the whole thing is one level, as you see in London and New York and so on.
I understand. I like the concept of the like the sidewalk cafes,
Sidewalk
so to speak,
cafes,
where
yes.
people are there. I've seen it in Australia, I see it in England and so on. But to totally remove
You're sounding old fashioned, actually.
pedestrian traffic,
You want those cars on Wall Street.
because I mean all cities you see,
Some cars.
yes.
You want your car.
If there is
You want to
a
drive across street on the
if there is a part in Broad Street that it can be done, so be.
So
But to totally,
get rid of the
but it is cause for public
Discussion.
consultation
yes, indeed.
on
That's
that,
how we do it. We go to
and
consult with the public.
and we will do that. So if the public by consensus overrule me, then I am sold on the
Yes,
idea.
so that David, pedestrianization of Broad Street, cobblestone, little cafes. And you and the wife and the manager.
We sat here tonight and we've given the Barbados Labour Party a lot of good ideas. I listened to Damien Pedro about changing up the urban Barbados.
They have a cabinet of 25. If they can't come up with these things, with a far smaller cabinet, and they'll pick up with come up with it.
They say we only talk, so we are showing them now that we have ideas.
Precisely.
So this is, we are showing you, the public, that members of this Democratic Labour Party are waiting to do the business on your behalf.
Precisely.
This is a government in waiting, not a number of people just talking. We are putting ideas to you that you can see that we, when given the opportunity, we are ready to take it on and to work on your behalf.
Well said. Maureen Denny tells us all major cities and towns come to life at night. Bridgetown is dead after 5 p.m.
Correct.
Our departed friend Marcus used to make that point all the time. You remember Marcus,
Yeah.
of course. God rest him. David.
Right. So basically, I kind of like the idea of moving the vehicles out of the bridge.
Out of Broad Street.
I will move them out of the bridge.
Out of bridge down.
And we put some trams and things through there.
Oh,
Trams.
Yeah.
Some
Damien
simple
said,
transportation. What model? I don't think, but take the vehicles out of the bridge down.
All
Park your car, man, here. Park your car and get on the tram and go through bridge down. But
I can
what
see it.
I like about tonight's program is that it is we are not just here to
Politics,
criticize anybody.
precisely.
We're not just here to beat our chests and say, well, look, we noticed that the Barbadian Party lost for ideas and that they got a leader who have a very acid dictatorship style of leadership. We're not just here to say these things, but we're here to help you understand that when we put our heads together, that we are going to work on behalf of the people of
And put
Barbados.
our eyes together with the people as well.
With the people.
Yes.
And we will work together with the people. That's my motto. I believe in working with people. I've done that all my life.
Yes.
And unless the people are involved, it's not a democracy.
Correct.
And we're going to remain democratic, we have to work with the people because we have a leader who does things and then come and say, you know, I did that. I did this. You know, and very often some of the things that are done, we're not comfortable with. But a lot of us are afraid to say, well, look, man, we don't look, you just do this. Selling that building in whole town was crazy.
Madness.
Well, they saw what happened to Senator Bristol here.
Yeah, but you see, that is if everybody will get scared or get afraid to stand up and say, well, look, right is right and wrong is wrong. You should sell the building. And truth in fact, that project should not be so, we should not be saying that it's a sole
Done
deal, it's a done deal. We should not be
The
saying
government
that. We can't just
did it. We should be
surrender.
insisting it.
We should insist that this project be reversed.
Yes. Yes.
And this weak kind of how we sit so weak behind this leader and let her do what she likes. And we got men in parliament. You imagine that? You know, we got men in parliament. We really do have men in parliament. Brother Thorne.
At least one man.
Because I mean, this is sick. A lot of what's happening to Barbados is very, very sick. Down to second in. Because you got a leader who gets up one morning, or if he does sleep, and says to Barbados, oh, I'm going to change this. Oh, I'm going to do that. I mean, she should be a Rasta. She's a person. I mean, the most time I hear, oh, he's been Rasta, skin to Barbados. And in truth and in fact, too much is being done without consultation with the people of Barbados. Sometimes you realize how silly this is when people just get and crumble in the background. Oh, she can do this, oh, she can do that. We gotta stand up. DLP gotta stand up. You see all this money that getting wasted here?
That's right. Has to stop.
It has to stop. We have a responsibility to make note of the amount of money that has been wasted since 2018.
Barbadians do not know how much money is leaking from the economy.
But that's what I'm saying.
And they think things cannot be done.
That we have surrendered. Too many of us, well, not me. Too many persons have already surrendered.
Yes. Yes.
Have already said to
You know
themselves,
the evidence of the surrender? Applauding when somebody gives you $300. We have reached that point in Barbados.
we
I'm
surrendered.
waiting for the next one.
I'm waiting for the next fight. And that's what we have become.
We have to move beyond surrender.
Beyond that. Beyond that.
We need to move beyond surrender. We need to help this lady understand that politics and the kind of politics that we know is democratic.
Maybe we need to wear white.
You understand?
Start protesting.
And we need to protest. We need to protest bad behavior. We need to protest bad behavior because You got a government that's saying to the people of Barbados, come next year, we're going total digital.
Mhm.
And they still waiting for the consultation. And that's another program.
That's another program.
That's another program.
Look,
Because
David, we were supposed to look at tape tonight. We got to come back to look at tape. It's 9 o'clock, Director. It's 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
They want us to wrap up. Wow. This has been excellent. Yes, yes. Don't have to go over it.
Security reasons.
You were to address us on tape tonight as a former prosecutor in the traffic courts as well. I think I did a couple of cases against you.
I will not tell the people about.
Judith Dalton Joke says you all will wrap up soon. So have a blessed night. I will be on tomorrow to watch DLP TV for 10 o'clock, and that's 10 o'clock in the morning, Judy. We will do our launch. What's that? Lemuel is quarreling about when I want your opinion. I will give it to you. Oh, he's saying that is.
It's love. Yeah.
Thank you, Lemuel, and thanks for being such a faithful viewer of this show. But unfortunately, all good things come to an end. But this is an ending. We're coming back on Tuesday, Director. We come back here on Tuesday next week. So, thanks, gentlemen. Any final words?
I just want to say here to the public, the viewing public, the Democratic Labour Party is ready. The Democratic Labour Party, led by the Honorable Ralph Thorne, is ready to assume the reins of government in this country and take you forward where you ought to be. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Pedro, thanks a lot.
Doesn't mean the opportunity to
Yes.
inform the wider Barbadian public and the Democratic Labour Party membership that we'll be having our annual conference the 22nd to 24th of August, and we really look forward at that conference to one, introducing our slate
Yes.
to the public of Barbados,
Yes.
and secondly, we want to also be able to give Barbadians a vision.
Yes.
So the Democratic Labour Party, at its annual conference this year, will be outlining its vision for Barbados, because we suspect this will be the last annual conference before a general election.
I'm sure it will be. The Barbados Labour Party doesn't have the stamina to do 4 years. And
the Prime Minister believes in 3-year terms.
and she believes in
And she
3
does.
years.
That's why.
I put it down to stamina. They don't have the stamina. Most governments can do 5 years.
Yeah.
This government, for all of its boasting, has not been able to do even 4 years.
Three terms in 10 years.
Precisely. Damien, we had a good time. Your ideas are excellent as usual. Any parting words? Or
Yeah, just to say that it is we have to be cognizant of the things that are going on in our country, and that if you want things to change, you have to come out and voice your opinion. You have to come out and you have to vote. And this Democratic Labour Party has always been the working man's
Yes.
party.
Yes.
It's always invested in the social institutions like education, healthcare, housing, social security. We've done that because we don't prioritize international outlooks or punching above our weight or outside investors. We pride ourselves in investing in the Barbadian people. And once we come into power again as a government, that is exactly what we are going to do.
Thank you very much. David?
When?
Final word?
I want to thank y'all, the director, for having me on tonight.
Always a pleasure.
But I want to say to Barbados, the Barbadians, stay tuned. There's a lot coming your way from the Democratic Labour Party. And a lot of the fears that you have right now will be allayed. We are working on it. We are working on making Barbados a better place. We are working on making Barbados a safer place. We are working on making Barbados a more affordable place. You have to invest your votes in the Democratic Labour Party. You have to give us the opportunity to bring back this runaway train called Barbados. Right now, we are out of control. We are borrowing lots of money. we're wasting lots of money and we're not seeing the benefits on the ground. We're not seeing the benefits in our pockets. We're not seeing the benefits in our social services. Thank you for viewing us tonight, and stay tuned. The Democratic Labour Party is here to rescue you.
Thank you very much, David. Thanks, gentlemen. We had a really good time tonight. Tomorrow is Emancipation Day in Barbados, and we want Barbadians to pause amidst all the crop-over celebrations and to acknowledge the importance and the significance of Emancipation Day, August 1st. And we wish Barbadians a happy Emancipation Day. It is a part of our cause and our mission to emancipate this country once again from what it has endured over the last 7 years. And do pause tomorrow and consider the significance of Emancipation Day. We'll be here tomorrow at 10 o'clock to launch our report of the Commission on Crime. Do have a good night and God bless you. Thank you very much.
Celebrating 70 years of the Democratic Labour Party, DLP. Get ready, London, Saturday, August 9th, 2025. We're celebrating 70 years of the Democratic Labour Party, DLP. And you are invited. Join us at the Wolves Lane Centre, Wood Green, from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. for an unforgettable day of culture, celebration and community. Hear from keynote speaker, the Honorable Ralph Thorne, leader of the opposition and political leader of the DLP, along with powerful supporting voices, Senator Andre Worrell and Vice President Felicia Dujon. Enjoy our music from DJ Tony, a vibrant Barbados marketplace, amazing performances, food, drink, and networking like no other. Free public entry and free parking right at the venue. Don't miss this historic celebration. Hey!